You ever wonder what happens when the little guy finally says no to the big man? Like really says it, right in his face, in front of a whole room that expects her to just take it? Yeah, that's the kind of day I'm talking about. And trust me, it's one of those stories that sticks in your head, even if you'd rather forget the mess of it. I'm telling you. But if you'd walked into the Gilded Spoon that morning, you'd see the floor worn shiny by 1,000 mornings like this, the red booths cracked and comfortable as old jeans. 22. Eyes so tired you'd swear she never slept, but with that straight-backed walk and easy smile that makes you believe maybe tomorrow will be better. She worked those tables like she was running point for an NBA team, floating from table to table, learning every regular's quirks, tucking her own exhaustion deep behind her service smile. But under that, there's grit. She's putting herself through Cooper Union at night, got a little brother, Jaden, at home, sick with something rare and ugly. And the world never seems to give her a break. Maria, the owner, keeps an eye on her, sort of like the mom Maya wishes she'd had. And in the diner, Maya almost feels safe. But if you blinked, you'd miss the moment everything changed. The bell above the door went off sharp, not the usual hello, and in strutted Hunter Thorne. Yeah, that Thorne family, money like water. Famous for thinking the world owes them. He's young, too handsome, eyes that scan the room like he's calculating the resale value of every person sitting there. 2 sidekicks follow. Just because he wanted that window seat. Didn't care who they were, didn't care how long they'd waited, just expected it. Maya stepped up, all professional, her voice steady, her chin high, telling him no, that she couldn't move people mid-meal, asking him to please wait. But Hunter, man, he took one look at her, her skin, her hair. The whole place went dead quiet. Maya didn't flinch. She said, "We treat everyone equally. If you can't wait, you're free to leave." Hunter, you could see the anger in him turn mean. He starts talking down, hinting at her background, using those words that sting, trying to break her spirit in front of everyone. When she stands firm, he throws a stack of bills at her feet, bills that'd pay her rent twice over, and tells her to pick them up like she's nothing. Now, if you've ever been put on the spot like that. Slowly, she looked up and told him, "Some things can't be bought. Respect's one of them. If you don't get that, you're in the wrong place." I swear you could feel everyone in the diner breathe out at once. Now, here's where the story flips. Hunter, used to getting his way, snaps, lunges for Maya, grabs her wrist hard, and for a second, Hunter gets up, spitting threats, promises to destroy her life. Then he storms out, his entourage trailing behind, leaving the diner in shock. Maria rushes over, customers clap, Maya's shaking. Next day, Maya's barely slept, thinking about the rent, about Jaden, about what a family like the Thornes could do to a nobody waitress. Then the door opens, and in walks Edward Thorne himself, Hunter's dad, old money, cold eyes, a suit worth more than Maya's yearly tips. He calls Maya aside, says he wants to hear her version. She tells him straight, every ugly detail. He listens, then, to Maya's shock, says he's sorry, that his son is a disappointment, that he failed him. You could see the weight of it on Edward's face. But just when you think, maybe there's hope, he makes an offer that stings. He'll pay her tuition, cover Jaden's care, but only if Maya comes to work at Thorne Global, directly under Hunter. To help teach his son respect. It's like a chess move, help and humiliation, all at once. Maya's angry, insulted, but Edward lays it out. Without his help, Jaden might not survive. Now, this is the twist. Maya, after a night of wrestling with her pride and her love for her brother, sets her own terms. She'll take the job, but she refuses to be a pawn. She draws hard boundaries. Maya's not a victim anymore. She's walking into the lion's den on her own terms. Her first day at Thorne Global, the power games begin immediately. Hunter tries to bury her with impossible tasks, throws subtle racist digs in meetings, tries to turn colleagues against her, but Maya's too sharp, too steady. She works late, builds alliances, never lets his cruelty see her flinch. But as the kind of leader they wish they had. And then the powder keg goes off. In a big board meeting, after Maya's killer presentation, Hunter finally snaps. Stands up and spews every ugly thing he's held back, insults her race, her background, her right to even be in the room. For a second, it's like time freezes. But Edward doesn't hesitate. He rips into Hunter, calls out his bigotry in front of everyone, tells him if he can't respect Maya, he doesn't belong at Thorn Global. You want to know what real justice looks like in a glass tower? Sometimes, it's as simple as the boss shutting the bully down cold, no matter who he is. Afterward, Maya's spent, she's won. But the price is too high. She resigns, not because she's defeated, but because she's finally ready to walk away from a place that doesn't deserve her. Hunter, for the first time in his life, finds Maya to apologize, honestly, clumsily, like a man who's never had to say sorry before. Maya accepts his apology, knowing he may never fully change, but leaves with her head high, stands up for their dignity, and changes the rules, even if just for a moment. And now, I gotta ask, if you were Maya, would you have risked everything to stand up for what's right? Would you have taken the deal? Tell me in the comments what you think. Let's get into it. Because these questions, they don't have easy answers, and that's what makes stories like Maya's worth telling. You know, a lot of folks think the story ends when you walk away from the battlefield. The final act, the credits rolling with some kind of soft, heroic soundtrack behind you. But that's not how New York works, and that's sure as hell not how it worked for Maya Lawson. Because when you stand up to power, especially the kind that Hunter and Edward Thorne represent, the story just keeps unfolding, every morning bringing a new fight you never saw coming. After leaving Thorn Global, Maya felt something inside her unclench for the first time in years. But the world outside that glass tower didn't exactly open its arms and congratulate her for her courage. There was rent to pay, medical bills still lurking around every corner. Anything in architecture, urban design, even entry-level gigs at places she'd dreamed of as a student. But every interview seemed to end with the same thin smile and polite excuse. Sometimes not even that. Word travels fast in this city, and Maya could tell by the way certain recruiters glanced at her resume, eyebrows flicking up at the Thorn Global line. That maybe the world was smaller than she thought. That maybe, just maybe, some doors close quietly and stay closed forever. But Maya's never been one to fold when life deals her a losing hand. She threw herself into helping Jaden, doctor visits, physical therapy, evenings of quiet homework, just the two of them at the kitchen table, the city glowing outside their little apartment window. Some nights, when the city's noises finally faded, she'd catch herself wondering if she'd made the right call, if dignity was really worth everything it cost. It's funny, isn't it? How the bravest moments in your life can come back as doubts in the silence. You ever feel that, late at night? Yeah, me too. One night, as rain battered the windows and Jaden was finally asleep, Maya's phone buzzed with a message she almost missed, an invite to a small local exhibition featuring young, underrepresented architects. No big names, no big sponsors. Just a crowd of hungry kids and hopefuls who believed cities could be built for everyone, not just the people at the top. At first, Maya wanted to ignore it. Tired from rejection and a long shift at a cafe, but something in her, maybe that old stubborn pride, maybe the voice of Maria echoing, "Don't let anyone tell you what you're worth," made her put on her best shirt and head out into the storm. That room was nothing like the boardrooms at Thorn. There were folding chairs, cracked tile floors, sketches taped to the walls, the smell of pizza and paint and city sweat. Maya's portfolio sat in her bag, creased at the corners from 100 job interviews. Quiet woman named Bree, whose family ran a Bronx community garden, showed Maya her designs for a low-cost public pavilion, and before she knew it, Maya was sketching alongside her. Their ideas bouncing off each other, laughter rising over the rain outside. You know what I mean? Sometimes it just takes one real conversation to make you feel seen again. That's where the twist comes in, the kind that sneaks up on you. Turns out, Bree's uncle sat on the board of a city-funded redevelopment project, one that needed fresh ideas, local voices. Just us trying to build something that actually matters. For the first time in months, hope flickered in Maya's chest. Something real, something earned, not handed down as a favor. She threw herself into the project, working late with Bree's team, sketching, arguing, drawing and redrawing until sunrise. The work was messy and imperfect and full of fights, but it was honest. About Maria's diner, about the everyday people who'd use these spaces. She saw heads nodding, eyes meeting hers, and for the first time since that fight with Hunter, Maya felt her own power, not borrowed, not coerced, but built from the ground up. Meanwhile, The world outside was changing. News had leaked about Hunter's outburst, the boardroom scandal, a profile in an online architecture magazine, stories about a waitress-turned-designer who stood up and changed things. People reached out. Small firms offered freelance gigs. As Maya watched Jaden laugh for the first time in weeks, really laugh, no pain in his eyes, she got a call from Maria. "Come by the Gilded Spoon tonight," Maria said. "We're having a little celebration." She walked into the diner and found not just Maria, but a whole group of regulars, people who'd watched Maya grow, struggle, and fight her way through it all. Bree was there, grinning beside her uncle. Even a couple of her new colleagues from the city project showed up, awkward in the old booths, sharing stories. Someone raised a toast, not to survival, but to courage, to dignity, to standing your ground in a world that tells you to shrink. That's the thing about stories like Maya's. They never really end, do they? The fight goes on. Sure, there's still fear, still battles to be fought, but there's also this new sense that what you do matters. That even when the giants push back, there's 1,000 voices ready to lift you up. Maya still walks past Thorn Global sometimes, looking up at the mirrored glass and thinking about the day she faced down power and walked away. She doesn't regret it, not for a second. She knows her worth now, and the city, in its own messy, noisy way, knows it too. And maybe that's the real ending, or maybe it's just another beginning. Because every time someone tells their story, or would you risk everything to change the story? Drop your answer below, share your thoughts, let's make some noise. Because the more we talk, the more we build a city, a world, where dignity can't be bought and no one has to fight alone.